Good day, AP Biology students. Welcome to Video Lecture Episode 12. Today we're continuing our discussion in Chapter 32. Remember, Chapter 32 is entitled, if you have forgotten, is Basic Principles of Animal Form and Function. Alright? So last time when we were together, we were talking about some different types of tissues, and I believe we concluded on just some pictures of different types, that being epithelial, connective, muscle, and then nervous. So let's go ahead and start on slide 12. Let's talk about coordination and control within a body. And let's talk about two body systems in particular, that being the endocrine system and the nervous system. Well, the endocrine system transmits chemical signals, that being hormones, to receptive cells throughout the body via blood. It's slow acting, but it has long-lasting effects. The nervous system is where neurons transmit information between specific locations. It's very fast. The info is received by neurons, muscle cells, and endocrine cells. Now, if you look at slide 13, you can see the difference between, graphically speaking, signaling by hormones and signaling by neurons, and that's on slide 13. So just take a look at that and just kind of just take it in, really. Okay, now let's move to slide 14. Let's talk about homeostasis. Homeostasis maintains a steady state or internal balance regardless of external environment. Fluctuations above, below a set point serve as a stimulus. These are detected by a sensor and trigger, of course, a response. The response returns the variable to the set point. In other words, when homeostasis is in this balance, if it goes off either below or above, there's a trigger, a stimulus that occurs. The sensor then gets a response. That response then sets that balance, either bringing it back down if it's gone too high or bringing it up if it's gone too low. Now let's look at slide 15 just so you can visually see what I mean by that. And that graphic should be fairly helpful as far as describing that. Now let's talk about negative and positive feedback on slide 16. Negative feedback, let's just drop down that column and look at it. More gets you less. Return changing conditions back to set point. This is part of negative feedback. Some examples would be temperature, blood glucose levels, or blood pH. Now an example, let's talk about plants in connection to this, is there's a response to water limitation, so that would be a negative feedback. Then a positive feedback, let's go down that column. More gets you more. Response moves variable further away from the set point. Stimulus amplifies response. Some examples would be lactation in mammals, onset of labor and childbirth. And then talking in connection with plants, it's the ripening of fruit. So now we have seen the comparison of negative and positive feedback. All right. Now let's just look at that visually on a graphic as well on slide 17, which should be fairly helpful. And let's go ahead and close our discussion today with slides 18 and 19 talking about thermoregulation. Thermoregulation maintains an internal temperature within a tolerable range. Now let's talk about two terms in connection with that, be endothermic and ectothermic. Endothermic animals generate heat by metabolism, birds and mammals, so that includes us. Ectothermic animals gain heat from external sources, such as invertebrates, fishes, amphibians, and non-avian reptiles. So just two questions to kind of close this slide off, and then we'll look at the slide 19, just look at the graphic image representation. And those questions are, which is more active at greater temperature variations? Which one? In other words, is endothermic or ectothermic? And which requires more energy? Endothermic or ectothermic? And then just like I said, look at slide 19. You can just see an example of an endotherm and an ectotherm. All right? I do hope this has been helpful, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. Reach out, send me an email. Have a nice day. Take care.